Hello, my name is Viri Chavez, and today I'll be sharing my testimony of how God brought healing into my heart and how He revealed Himself to me. I was born in Mexico, and there my dad passed away before I was the age of 1. My mom and I moved to the U.S. and she got remarried when I was about 2 years old. This new dad and this new family was not enough for me. I still had a hole in my heart because this new family hated me. They see me as a stepchild in their eyes, and they abused me not only physically but verbally. They would lie about me and say things that were not true. So it came to the point where I decided to stay silent and not tell my mom about it. At the age of 19, I got pregnant, and at that time, my boyfriend went to jail, and I was going to be a new mom alone. It came time to do my prenatal testing, and I went to my appointment, and the doctor shared that my daughter was going to be born with Down syndrome, and he said there was a solution that I was able to get an abortion. But I told him that I was not going to abort my child just because she was born sick. And then he starts yelling at me and says that how am I going to be a young mom alone? My boyfriend's not even there to take care of me, to take care of the baby. How am I going to do it alone? So a few months went by, and at 26 weeks pregnant, I got really sick. They took me to the hospital, and there they shared that I was really sick. They ran many tests, and in a blink of an eye, I was connected to the IVs, to the monitor, and they came in and said that I was diagnosed with preeclampsia, and if the baby and I wouldn't have came in sooner, we would have passed away. So their goal was to keep me stabilized enough to transport me to a more equipped hospital in Palo Alto, and there they were going to keep me until I was full term. But unfortunately, I didn't make it. I got really sick again, and they took me in as an emergency C-section. I was so afraid of this because I was alone, and I was afraid. I didn't know if I or the baby were going to make it. But there was a nice nurse there, a sweet nurse, that told me that she would be there to hold my hand through it all because I was so afraid. I remember, sorry. My daughter was born, and they took her. They took her because she was so little. And they took me to the recovery room, and once I was in there, a group of specialists came in, and they came in with the doctor, and they shared that my daughter was not born with Down syndrome, but she only had a 40% chance of living. She weighed 1 pound, 2 ounces, and they shared that her left brain was bleeding, that she had ROP in her eyes, that her kidney and her liver was failing. She had fatal abdominal thrombosis, and so on and so forth. Basically, her body was shutting down. So I remember being next to her incubator, and I cried out to God, and I was telling Him, Lord, I'm not ready to let go of my child, Lord. Please heal her, Lord. And at that moment, a lady was next to me, and she shared she was the chaplain of the hospital. And she asked me if I needed prayer, and I said yes. Leah stayed in the NICU for almost 4 months, and God heard our prayer. He healed her from everything. He gave her a chance to live, and she is healthy and strong today, and for this I praise Him. This is when the seed of faith got planted in my heart. My boyfriend and I decided to do things correctly, well, what we thought was correct. So we got married, and we tried to find a local church. A few years went by, and my husband had a faithful servant ministering to him, and he would invite us to church. But at that time, we thought we didn't need God. But when my second daughter was born, she was born profoundly deaf. And at that same week, my husband got fired from his job. And this really broke the both of us. So we decided to take that invitation and we went to church. And there we repented and God started healing our hearts and we fully surrendered. But the time went by, and with my third pregnancy, I began feeling sick again. And I remember bringing this before my doctor, and my doctor brushed it off, saying that it was all normal, that it was normal pregnancy pains. At this time, my husband and I were being called to serve at our local church in Vacaville. So we were getting called to move to a different city. I didn't want to move because I was so close to being due, and I felt this tug in my heart, this conviction in my heart where God was telling me to be obedient and listen to him. So we did. So I surrendered and said, okay, Lord, I'll be obedient, and we moved. The day I got discharged from the hospital, my husband and I packed all our stuff and we moved. A couple of months went by and I was still feeling sick. It was so hard because I had lost about 30 pounds in less than 3 months. I was in such pain. I couldn't even carry my baby, who was only 10 pounds. And I couldn't see the doctor because my insurance hadn't been transferred yet. But I got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. Finally, my insurance got transferred and I was able to see the doctor. So I came in and they ran tests and a lot of lab work. And when I came in, the doctor said that it was too much information to share, that I was gonna have to come for a second appointment. But all she said was that I was really sick and that I needed to take medication. So I picked up the medication and it was about 12 bottles. I had to put so many alarms to try to remember to take all of these. So that a few days went by and I was able to see my doctor and she shared that I had many autoimmune diseases, some like lupus, Crohn's disease, my liver was failing, arthritis, and so on and so forth. Basically, my body was shutting down and that I could have died if I wouldn't have came in sooner. So I remember going home and looking at my daughters and just thinking to myself, Lord, please don't let my daughters grow up without their mom, because I know how it is to have a missing parent. But through it all, I had my husband helping me. But I was such in pain that I couldn't take it anymore. I wanted to be with the Lord. But the Lord had other plans for me. He began healing my heart. He began healing my body. He brought so much peace to my heart. He helped me forgive those who hurt me in my past. He filled that hole in my heart. He filled that hole in my heart. And through this, I glorify him, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be alive today. The Bible verse that kept me going was Isaiah 40:31. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not be faint. He renewed my strength every day. He healed me from most of all my sicknesses. Most of those were supposed to be fatal or lifelong. He brought healing within my heart. I thought I had a hole in my heart because I didn't have a dad, but it was because I needed Jesus. He was my missing piece. He set me free from all bondage, and I praise Jesus for this. Today He is my Father, my Savior, and He gives me strength every day to get up and continue fighting the good fight. And I will continue running the race until He decides to call me home.